Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast, and what a win that was. 20-9 over the first-place Reds. The Cubs within 4 games of first place on the 1st of August. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Delmendo, also the trade deadline day. We had a full 1-hour podcast for you, just talking strictly trade deadline moves and moves that didn't happen as well. So if you're looking for that, go back and check it out on the YouTube page or also in podcast form. We appreciate it. Thumbs up on the way.
Thumbs up.
Wow, the chat's rolling already.
They're vibing.
We got the thumbs up are starting. Please hit the thumbs up on the way in.
Like button, please.
And we're getting a lot of people starting to check in with us. I've seen some good comments already.
Someone said DFA K and Morel. And I'm like, why would we DFA Morel? What?
Well, you can't be happy with 20 runs.
Something's got to be wrong. Can't be happy with 20 runs.
Shay, the people have spoken. The people have spoken, and they want the beer bat back. I went away for a few days. I come back, and the beer bat is gone. It's just gone. Cody's given up on it. It's been put away. It's on a shelf somewhere. He's not doing it.
They deserved no beer bat. Not the people listening, but the Chicago Cubs.
Chicago Cubs. So you tried to spark them.
I don't care how much the Cubs don't want to acknowledge me for anything. I deserve some credit for manifesting, the wins this year, all right? Whenever they got swept by the Angels, I started taking all the guys who were struggling to save the season, and what happened? They won 11 or 13.
All right.
Whenever I said I was going to start taking Seiya Suzuki or Ian Happ, they had lost only 3 games since I said that, all right?
I don't know what the record is since I've come back, but it's pretty good.
They have 2 losses since you came back.
That's right.
So,
best team in the National League since I returned.
When I have done my part, folks. I have done my part as a fan for the Chicago Cubs this year. So when you look like you're about to sell for the 3rd consecutive trade deadline,
take away the bat.
I'm taking away the beer bat.
It's like a little kid. You got to take away things. Get them behave.
But we're back. We scored 20 runs tonight, 21 hits, 7 homers, and we've won what? 9 out of 11.
Best record in the National League since the All-Star break.
We're vibing, baby.
20 runs, 21 hits, 7 home runs.
Hell yeah, baby.
Including the new guy.
They said this team could
coming up with some big hits, not home runs, but he had some big hits. So here it comes, folks. The beer bat is back.
Ooh, I haven't got a pour.
The losing streak is over, and Vanilla Chill is calling a regression and saying this is going to take over 15 seconds.
I said yesterday, put the over-under at 13 seconds. So
David's being just mean. He says beer bat for DFAing Mancini. Super chat. Lineup looking a little bit longer with Jeimer. Nice win. Can't argue with that. I mean,
where are we at?
I said it was going to lengthen the lineup. I didn't say it was going to deliver 20 runs.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Lively just did not have it tonight, and then the Reds made him eat it because their bullpen was taxed. It was so bad that they had a position player pitching in the 7th inning. You know what
Tyler
I mean?
says 12.4 second shape, calling 13-2. Joe says 15-5. 13.56 is up there. Ben is going over 20.
Ooh. Colada says that he deserves credit. You scroll up a little bit, Sarah. He says, I am responsible for Cubs winning. I shamed Ricketts into buying. All right, Godfather. I'll give you credit.
The Godfather was consistent. Gerard says 12-5. Fernando says 11-7. What are we all thinking? Here we go. The beer bat. Are you going to make your dedications? Because I got to get the stopwatch ready while you're making your dedication.
We got a little bit of foam here, but we'll do it anyway.
Sox guys are trying to get in on this. Their fun is over for this.
Well, they want to watch me probably fuck this chug up or whatever.
I didn't know where we were going for that, but okay.
Anyway,
All right, beer bat, make your dedication.
I haven't done a dedication. All right, this beer bat is for my guy, Mike Tauchman. The summer of Mike Tauchman continues. All right, 3 hits tonight.
Palatine pounder.
Opposite field homer. Cody Bellinger as well. He, at one point, was batting 1,000 for 3 consecutive plate appearances. He just continues to stay hot. This team is on a roll, folks.
Jed Hoyer's calling for 6.9 seconds.
Jed. All right,
very
Jed,
fast.
That's high expectations, Jed, but, Anyway, are we ready?
Nice. Here we go.
Oh, my God. They're watching me. Okay.
Oh, the Sox guys are watching. And begin. And the clock is on. Here we go. Cody Delmendo in honor of the Palatine Pounder, and the Cubs turn it around. 4 games out of first. Delmendo around third, heading for home, and he is in the home stretch. Boom. I got him at 12-2-3. Does that sound fair? 12-2-3. Some are saying 11-6. Clint is saying 16-9. No, it was faster than that. He had 10 seconds, Sarah.
There was a lot of foam in there, though.
Yeah. He had 10 seconds, and he got to the bottom, and it just...
There was a lot of foam.
The foam got him. It wasn't his normal good pour.
I took all of you personally. You were like 20 seconds. I was the
Nathan
Michael Jordan.
Have you ever gone
20.
20 seconds? I feel like you're always like under 20.
His fastest is under 9,
You
right?
should have been doing this the first 3 weeks of the year.
Well, yeah, the first one was like 90 seconds. It was like it was more like 2.5 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Vanilla
He
Chill
was sipping
says
it
I
like
should
a
have never
fine
doubted
wine. He
Cody.
was sniffing the beer.
See, this is
doubted
what
him.
happens whenever I have to hold a grudge. All right, I have
He holds a
consistently
grudge.
been saying in this
He does
office
hold a grudge.
for the last week that no one holds a grudge at CHGO like me, and that is why I will go find old Cody Bellinger tweets that are slandering him, and I will quote tweet you with that funny.
Watch
Tom
out!
Cruise
Watch out! That's a
meme.
dangerous slope to go down.
It's a dangerous.
Zachary
dangerous
says,
way to go.
"Talk nice to me." I say, "Talk dirty to me." What a game that was! 20 runs for the Cubs, 7 home runs, 21 hits, and I mean,
It's amazing what happens when you play Mike Tauchman in your leadoff spot.
it was an interesting lineup. First of all, we talk about the trade deadline stuff, and Jeimer Candelario makes his return to the Cubs, 2016 World Series champion, if you didn't know. Back with the Cubs.
you didn't know.
Originally
People
signed,
forget.
made his debut with the Cubs in 16, played 5 games. He's back. And they get him at the trade deadline, arguably the best bat that was available at the deadline, signed by the Cubs, or traded to the Cubs, I should say. And he's in the lineup. He gets 4 hits. But the interesting part was that he was playing first base. And David Ross has said right before the game, that's where they expect him to play a lot. First base. Now, he hadn't played there since 2020.
Yeah. And then
The story they told in the broadcast, if you missed it, is really good. The guy didn't even have a glove to use. David Ross is like, you're playing first base, and he's like, I don't have a glove. So he had to use Miguel Amaya's glove over at first base, and now he has to order a glove because he realizes, they're going to play me at first, not third, where I had the highest WAR of any National League third baseman so far this season. So he was there, but that allowed Tauchman to play right instead of Seiya.
Yeah.
And put Bellinger back in center. And, I can't argue with 20 runs. It's a one-game sample size, but pretty sweet. How about Cody Bellinger? They didn't trade him. They decide not to trade Cody Bellinger.
And that price for him is only going up.
What somebody in the chat at the very beginning of the show, before we were even on, said 10 for, I didn't see how many years you said, 10-year deal they wanted for Cody Bellinger. Listen.
10 years,
10 years,
285.
Okay, Flat Earth Poker
Flat
said 10,
Earth
285. I'll
Poker.
tell you this. Shohei is still the number 1 target.
Yes.
But Cody Bellinger is quickly becoming number 2. and honestly, it could be 1A, 1B, because if he's healthy and he's playing like this, he's everything you want on your team.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. A lot of money for a guy who's shown some injury history, but he's a left-handed bat.
Power.
He's still young.
Yep.
He has
Plays-
MVP pedigree.
Has Gold Glove defense
And a Gold Glover.
and can play all over the field.
Anytime you sign that kind of check, it's a risk. This team's got cash. Go spend it.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Give me Shohei. Give me Bellinger. Give me division title.
Give me World Series
Give
aspirations.
me real competition.
Yeah.
Real competitive baseball that could get you some World Series. Bellinger hit the scoreboard. That was Schwarber-esque, the home run tonight.
Broke it, right?
It wasn't onto the scoreboard, but he broke the thing.
Yeah.
Flat Earth Poker says 30-year-old Xander Bogaerts got $280 million. Well, I got to tell you what, the other guy we got, we'll get to him in a second, but he seems like the steal of the offseason at that deal right now. But Bellinger, man, you can only dream what it would have been like if he would have been able to play like this all season with no injuries.
Well, you got to think that
your record would be better. I don't absolutely guarantee that.
What did we say at the beginning of the year before the games even start? We said that this team, if they're in it, it's going to be because Cody Bellinger is doing something.
He'd have to be playing at an all-star level.
Yeah.
Maybe not MVP level, but if they're in it, he was worth the contract.
We thought that if they were a competitive team, if they were buyers at the deadline, that it's because Cody Bellinger he's gotten back to some sort of form that he was in like 2019, right? He's at least since he's been back, since he came back from the knee injury. He had a great April for sure. 7 home runs in April, I believe, if I remember right. 1.5 F4 at the time, at the end of April. Was playing Gold Glove center field defense. The team was playing well in April, right? Struggled beginning of May, him and the team, and he sustains the injury, comes back after like a month. The power didn't really show up right away, but he was getting hits. He was getting on base. He was playing good defense at first base while he was still healing up to potentially go back out to center. And as soon as it was almost like as soon as he went back out to center field, when he was when the Cubs started consistently playing him out there in center field, that's when the power started to show back up. And ever since then, he's just taken off, man. Like, I love watching it. I love watching it, one, because he's an easy guy to root for, because he was a guy that people had given up on. People criticized the Cubs for signing this guy. People were like, "Oh, you're gonna pay this guy $17 million or whatever it was." This guy who's been washed for a couple years, because of injury, and obviously he needed a change of scenery.
He did. It worked.
All right.
He had to get back with his old hitting coach.
And you got to get back with the old hitting coach.
That was absolutely crucial. Max Steffen says on a super chat, CHGO makes being a fan fun, especially when we win. Max, baby, we love you.
Thanks, Max.
We love you, Max.
It's
super easy.
Again,
superstar.
It's super easy to root for the guy. And God,
prettiest swing in baseball, Flat Earth. I tell you, it is a pretty swing.
Yeah.
Left-handed swings are pretty. He's got a good one.
It
is a pretty swing.
Yeah. He is putting himself into a very, very good situation come this winter. And I swear, if the Cubs are not part of it.
Cody, is $700 million enough to get you Shohei and Cody Bellinger?
Oh,
can we take 700 milge of that 700 mildo, the old Ricketts bank, and Venmo that over to those two guys?
I don't think that's enough, because I think Shohei is going to get $600 million, and I think Bellinger's at least going to get $550
to Shohei and $150 to Bellinger. I think $750 is probably the number.
Yeah, $750 is the number.
If you could spend $750 million on two guys, would you spend it on those two guys?
And 600 of it's going to Shohei, if it happens. But
man, what a lineup you could have, though.
God, yeah. On top of the prospects you got coming up next year.
You'd have a great mixture of power and guys. Now, again, if you have Bellinger and you have Shohei, someone like Madrigal can be your third baseman.
Yes.
You don't worry about that power not being there. Again, I don't know who the first baseman is. That first baseman might be Bellinger, because PCA might be the guy giving you cheap play in center field eventually.
Yeah.
Some of those young guys come up, and you would need young pitchers to start to step up, because that would mean there's no way you're paying somebody like Stroman. You would be going cheaper in the rotation and hoping young guys deliver. But you can dream, Cubs fans.
Colada says, play the tape of the show of the show in January. Cody, Luke, and me wanted Bellinger. Credit to us, Godfather.
That's right.
Credit to us.
That's
Big
right.
of us.
He's the man.
Credit to us.
Dansby Swanson was the big offseason signing last year. And everybody said, we got the consolation prize. They got the cheapest deal of the big money shortstops, and he has been everything you could ask for. He's as slick as you could get at shortstop. 2 home runs. Dansby Swanson is your DraftKings king of the game. 2 hits, 5 RBI. Spectacular. Home runs? Said he didn't have the power. Yeah. Those home runs are starting to add up.
What, he's got 15 now?
Starting to add up. 15. Bellinger's got 16.
Yeah. Well, it was only a matter of time. This guy's been one of the best shortstops in the league the last 2 years, right?
He's gonna hit over 20. We 25, I think, was the number last year. It's not ruled out.
Right. Now he's up to a 796 OPS. I feel like if at the end of the year you look at it and he's around 850, you feel really good about Dansby Swanson. The dude just gives you elite defense at shortstop. He gives you quality at bats. He gets on base. And that's the one reason why I haven't really been worried about him all year. Is like, yeah, power hadn't been there at certain points, especially during parts when the team was really struggling. But the dude gives you quality at bats, man. Yeah, he'll have a few games where he strikes out more than you'd like to see, but every player's doing that these days. So, yeah, he's just really fun to watch. It's really hard for me to complain about Dansby Swanson.
It is.
He is as valuable as anyone on this roster, and you could see it when the Cubs came out of the All-Star break and they lost that series against the Red Sox. They really missed his presence not only in the lineup but even defensively. Even though Nico and Morel were okay up the middle, they were okay, they were fine. But there were some moments where you're like, man, if Dansby's out there, you definitely have the better defense. All right. Dansby Swanson, he might not be the engine that makes this team go, but he is a big part of it. And I give all the credit to Jed Hoyer. And I've been saying this all season for the most part. I give all the credit to Jed for getting that right. Because I know me and probably Luke, we sat here all last season and we're like, Correa.
We were.
He gets paid more money. Bogarts gets paid more money. Trey Turner gets more money. We all said all 3 of those guys were better than Dansby Swanson.
We did say it.
And we all basically, whenever Swanson signed with the Cubs, we were just happy they got one, but we were also kind of like, well, is he going to be as good as the other 3? And he has been better than all 3.
We just said, hey, get one of them. I didn't really care. Like, I just said get one of them. And even Jed Hoyer admitted, like, there was a point where he was like, I'm a little afraid we might strike out on this. It didn't happen. What I love about our chat is not only the super chats, which we're getting to in a second. We're over 100 likes.
Hell yeah.
And we got the super chats coming in. But we have a man of integrity. Garrett says he was wrong. He wants to admit he was wrong about Dansby Swanson.
Big of you, Garrett.
Big of you.
Credit to you, man.
AJ Katz loves the middle infield with such a burning passion. I'm with you. And I saw our friend Rhonda was saying nice things about us. We appreciate that.
Rhonda said nice things about us.
Rhonda said nice things. Barb always says nice things about us. Congrats on the movie. $1 million. $1 billion now, Barb, on Barbie. Yeah. Can you show us some of the super chats for us, Sarah? Let's get through some of these.
Fernando, $1.99, Belly and Candy, Candelario, if anyone didn't know, at $500 million total and a pitcher. I don't know how much money Candelario is going to get, but it better not be anywhere near half that kind of money.
But if you're talking about 3 players at $500 million and you're figuring that Bellinger is a big chunk of that, okay.
Yeah. See, that's kind of the thing is like the Cubs do have, I think we'll know more about the holes that the Cubs have by the end of the year, but Shohei is two MVP caliber players.
Yes, you can lose Stroman with Shohei.
For sure. He's the dream, man. He is the dream. I don't care how much. I don't care how much you have to pay for him. But if you do miss out on Ohtani, if Bellinger continues to play like this, he's got to be your number 1 target. And then you just hope that they're able to bring in some other guys. And again, you have your best prospects set to make their debut in 2024. And so that is only going to help this team be even better. That's why I was all about buying, or at least staying pat at the deadline this year, because this team deserved a chance to see what they could do. Play some meaningful games, get a little playoff experience if it happens, all that. That's why I needed them to figure it out and get to the point where the front office wasn't forced to fully sell. And I'm glad they did, and now we get to see it all play out. I know last night we were all pissed off, and tonight we're all way too excited. And,
you're doing beer bats.
And I'm doing beer bats, and we're
I'm
back to being
dreaming of
delusional.
Ohtani and Belly and more. Oh, my.
We're back to being delusional Cubs fans, dreaming about Ohtani one day and dreaming about what the rest of the season could bring. That's what we do.
You'd probably get Verlander on the cheap, too, while you're at it.
But, no, I don't hate that idea. If Candelario plays well in the second half, I don't even think he's going to cost you that much. He's only had a few really good seasons. You probably get him on a 2 or 3 year deal.
Once you get Shohei and Bellinger, that's when you start getting the veterans chasing a ring. I'll play for anything. All right, Dana super chat. Candelario, the OG, great debut. Thankful we picked him up at the deadline. And
World
Baseball
Series
Junkie
champion.
with a $20
$20
super chat. What does he say?
$1 every run the Cubs scored tonight. Cubs baseball isn't just a game in my home. It's the way of life. Relevant baseball in August for the first time since 2020. As the vibes roll in the CHGO crew as a second family. Hell yeah, man.
That's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
Family.
Appreciate you.
David says for $5, second beer bat chug for my first super chat? Question mark. Burgundy. Love you guys, by the way. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you, David. We appreciate it. Both the super chat and the flattering words.
I do appreciate it, though, David.
What do we have? Hey, 420 now in the chat.
Wow.
The Cubs
Look at
train,
us. Who would have thought?
As my good friend Dan Plezak says, the big blue train is starting to chug. The big blue train is on the tracks right now.
Oh, man.
We're going to have to get Plezak on there and see if we can get the old conductor's hat back and a few of the choo-choos, because I could tell you one thing I noticed tonight. Wrigley's back to rocking.
Oh.
2 nights in a row. They didn't win last night, but Wrigley's back to rocking.
Yeah. Well, the fans have been begging for this, man.
Begging? Well, they deserve it.
They've been craving it.
They deserve it.
We got 400 people watching this right now after beating the Reds 20-9.
Just sitting here with 2 idiots in a chair. Yeah. You know?
People just want to talk about this team. People want to get hyped up about this team. This is what I've been dreaming of, honestly. I've been thinking about these types of games since the moment they traded the core at the deadline in 2021. Just get me back to this, to games that matter, to competitive baseball, for hope that will probably lead me to getting hurt again, but at least giving us something exciting to watch.
That's right.
That's what I wanted for this year. And it's been a roller coaster ride for the most part. But I love the way this team bounced back tonight, especially after yesterday where, you get off to a bad start in the series. Stroman struggles again, all this stuff. You kind of battle back, almost complete the comeback. You fail to do it. You fall 5 games back, go into the last deadline day, don't really do too much. And you go into this game where, honestly, there's more pressure on you to win this game tonight than it was the Reds. But you pulled it out, and you stomped on their throats in the first inning. It was 5-0 after the first inning. The Cubs batted around in the first inning. So
look at Gary throwing shade at us. Can you get to where the Bears guys are? They had over 1,000. Let me tell you, Gary.
Why would you say that, Gary?
Come
on, man. We give you
this
all.
Podcast,
we give you all
Gary,
all the talk.
This
on
podcast
here.
has standards. We're 1 game over 500. Those are the Bears you're talking about, man. That's the NFL. That's the king. And frankly, the only skin that we're willing to show on this podcast is Cody's legs after a win every once in a while on some shorts. We got Braggs and Carmen willing to take their shirt off for everybody to raise super chats and whatnot.
And they just bicker and yell at each other.
Oh, we love them, but
we're just fans.
Come on, let's compare apples to apples.
You
this
get
Cubs
me and
team goes
Stuckey.
to the playoffs. You watch our numbers. Tell a friend.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say, Gary. Tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. Hashtag vibe with us.
Absolutely.
Hashtag vibe with us. Candyman, 4 hits. Justin Steele, 6 innings, gave up some runs. But again, when he started giving up the runs, he was supposed to be just throwing strikes. So I don't worry about, to me, Justin Steele was shoving. He came out in the first inning, made De La Cruz look like a single A player.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I thought Steele was great. Okay. Did they get a few runs against him? Yes, but that was when you start scoring runs like that, you don't want him nitpicking corners and trying to get deep into count. You want him just throwing some strikes, and strikes are going to get hit by a good team sooner or later. Let me go back to the 2014 Chicago Cubs draft, and I'm asking you, when is the last time a Chicago sports team, any sport, had a draft like the Cubs had in 2014? Kyle Schwarber, first round. Justin Steele, ace, 5th round. Dylan Cease, ace, 6th round. That is a draft.
Yeah.
Now, I know our friend Niren, who I haven't seen so far yet on the
we haven't seen him in a while, to be honest with you. But
he criticizes some drafts, but you can look back at 2014 and say they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, a lot of those drafts did pretty well leading up to 2016. 2014 was a good draft. I mean, they don't have Cease anymore, but Cease was still used to get you Quintana.
True.
Who wasn't a bad pitcher. It's just maybe you didn't use the trade at the time. I thought it was fine, but maybe it didn't work out well. But that doesn't mean the guy you drafted was wrong. You drafted Schwarber, Steele, and Cease in the first 6 rounds of the draft. So pretty impressive. I ask you where that stacks up, and then I ask the Sox guys tonight. I ask you to be impartial, Cubs fans, in the CHGO podcast live chat. Would you rather have Justin Steele on his contract right now and control, or would you rather have Dylan Cease? Would you trade Cease for Steele straight up? The Sox guys thought about it, and they said, no, if we're the Sox, I'm holding. And I said, if I'm the Cubs, I'm also holding. It's 2 more years of affordable control that you have, more than what Cease has with the White Sox.
So Steele's controls up until 2028.
They're both 27, but Steele has 2 extra years of control than Cease does.
Yeah. Well,
it's a pretty tough question.
The Sox guys should say Cease because they don't have a good enough defense behind Steele.
I think he's getting traded in the offseason.
This isn't slander to Steele at all, but the one thing that Cease has over Steele is he definitely gets more strikeouts.
Yeah.
Definitely has more electric stuff. Mm-hmm. Steele is a 2-pitch guy. He just goes out there, everyone knows what he has, and he says, try and hit it. And he throws those Mississippi fastballs, as ALLCITY tweets all the time, and he gets it done. He gets the job done. Does it help that the Cubs have a really elite defense behind them? Absolutely, but you look at any good team around the league, they all have a good defense behind them more often than not. And I'm sure that some of those pitchers, too, are getting some help because of their defense behind them. So, hey, the Cubs have they set up their starting pitching well with the defense behind them, and that is why Justin Steele has definitely been way better than I think we all really expected coming in the year. But also at the same time, he's had some starts where he has looked really, really, really good, like top of the rotation. Let that guy start game 1 of the playoffs, wherever it starts, and ride that. And tonight, he gave up that homer to Stevenson, who Stevenson has mashed him in the few games that they've gone up against each other. But other than that homer, he went into the 6th inning only giving up 3 earned runs, right? So
yeah.
But overall, it depends on what you want. You want more swing and miss? You want more strikeouts? Then you probably go Cease. If you just want a guy who throws strikes and finds a way to keep guys in the ballpark, that's one thing that Steele does do. He doesn't give up homers very often. He gets a lot of soft contact, and he just goes out there and gives you quality innings. The one con for Cease is he does walk a lot of guys.
I love both guys.
They're both great.
That's why it's a great draft. I love both guys. I believe you have 3 combined Tommy John surgeries. These are guys that had to overcome to get to where they're at.
Yeah.
And they're both fun to root for. Losing Cease was tough when it happened, but Steele's development has been spectacular. And at the beginning of this year or this last offseason, if you'd asked that question, it would have been silly.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's silly anymore. Okay? That's why I asked the question, and the Sox guys didn't just jump at it. We all sat there and thought, well, I could argue for it both ways. A year ago, it was silly. 2 years ago, it was silly, potentially, if you said, hey, Nico Horner is better than Tim Anderson. It's not silly anymore.
Yeah.
It's not silly. So a lot of things can change in baseball, and things seem to be turning for the Chicago Cubs. Gary, we forgive you. And he gave, mostly because he gave us the $4.99 super chat. I was answering Garrett's question, not throwing shade about likes. I love all CHGO teams except the Sox. Now bring up Horn for K. Well, what about Slaughter?
Now he's on the Bailey Horn train now.
He's on the Bailey Horn train.
All I can say is they need to send Anthony K back to Iowa or DFM because I've been out on him for a while.
Craig says he'd rather have Tauchman than Eloy.
Well, this is what the summer of Mike Tauchman has done to all of us. I love it.
Palatine Pounder. Man, credit to our guy Joe at Obvious Shirts. I think I'm buying the Palatine Pounder. Being from the Mid-Sur Ribbon League, I probably need the Palatine Pounder t-shirt.
Probably do.
Although he lives in Arlington Heights, not Palatine anymore. So, anyways.
Whatever.
That's that.
Anyway, regarding the debate, I'm sure I haven't watched every Dylan Cease start, but I know he's got an ERA over 4. You know that White Sox defense is bad. The Sox guys will tell you that. I'm sure it'd be lower if he had the Cubs defense behind him. I'm sure it'd be right at sub 3 ERA if he had the Cubs defense behind him. So I don't. But the only thing that he's ever done that I've noticed that is kind of alarming is sometimes he can walk guys way too much. So, that. But Steele, he throws strikes. And he's a left-handed pitcher. I didn't even mention that. So it's tough, but they're both great. But I guess recency bias has me leaning Steele.
We still love Keegan Thompson, but shouldn't we at least make Mike Tauchman the mayor of Palatine?
Absolutely.
Shouldn't he be the mayor of Palatine at this point? We could make him mayor of Arlington Heights, and then that Bears deal would get done.
Yeah.
Have a little in there. I can't read the number without my readers. Is it 170 thumbs up?
170,
well,
yes.
We have 415, 418, 420 in the chat.
We somehow got a thumbs down.
Yeah,
too.
come on. We need
man.
This I want to see 200. At least 200 thumbs up. We appreciate it. Cody, the only thing that would make this night better would be the vibes from a trip to Sunnyside.
Listen, I tweeted earlier during the game after Patrick Wisdom hit his homer, or maybe it was Nico, I don't remember, that I said that if I was at beautiful, historic Wrigley Field right now, I would be absolutely intoxicated in left field. Right. But I came to my job instead. Credit to me, big of me, for doing that.
We don't know where Corey was tonight. He was not at the ball game, but I'm thinking probably just at Sunnyside.
Right. Now, would I have made a stop at Sunnyside after the game? Perhaps. I feel like that's a good bet. So, again, big of me to come to my job, but I wish I could have gone to Sunnyside after the game tonight instead of doing this show. But, again, big of me for being here. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. One-stop shop for all your cannabis needs, no matter where you are on your cannabis journey. Easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Great transparent loyalty program. Sunnyside Rewards, Illinois' favorite dispensary. They got all kinds of different brands. They got Mindy's, the best tasting gummy and chocolate edibles, created by James Beard award-winning chef Mindy Siegel and Cresco Labs. They got the
right there on Damon
High Supply, which offers quality weed that's always available. Buds are expertly grown, lab tested, and available in vape carts, vape pens, flour, popcorn, shakes, pre-rolls, shorties, and concentrates, and a lot more through August. Head to sunnyside.shop and use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order. One use per customer, not stackable with other promotions. That's not only for new customers, anyone can use the code. So pick up everything you need to elevate your summer. Must be 21 plus or an Illinois Med card holder.
Mike Evans with the super chat. Can we start the Mike Tauchman Rookie of the Year talk?
He's been in the league for a while.
Get the hype going.
He's been in the league for a while, bro. He's not a rookie.
He's a rookie for the Cubs.
He's a rookie for the Cubs.
He's a first-year guy for the Cubs. I tell you what, Sunnyside, well, we know that Sunnyside and college go hand in hand. Sunnyside and fun go hand in hand. Sunnyside and summertime Fridays go hand in hand. So does Lewis University. Students just like you, full-time jobs, families, full-time sports fans, they go back to school to earn respected degrees at Lewis University. That's 35 miles, Cody. That's all it is, southwest of Chicago and Romeoville. And it's a well-kept secret, but it is a hidden gem, ranked as one of U.S. News and World Report's top-tier colleges. They partner with numerous employers for tuition discounts, offer evening, online, and blended formats to help your work balance with your family and education. Faculty bring real-world experience and instruction to the classroom, so you have real people teaching you. And we offer career support there as well, academic resources for adult students. Maybe you're looking for that bachelor degree, finish it up, master's degree, or enrolling in a professional certificate program. Lewis has the programs for you. They offer several career-focused programs that'll set you up for success. Right now, cybersecurity is huge around the world, and Lewis is a Department of Homeland Security Center of Excellence, academic excellence in cybersecurity. They provide students with scholarship funding that's not available anywhere else. Discover how a degree from Lewis can help you build a better world. Learn more at lewisu.edu/you-can-do-this.
I have been told on X, the X app, that
I don't like that, by the way.
I've been told online.
I keep thinking it's The Athletic. It's the same logo.
I've been told online that Colruyt opened marquee with, and the summer of Mike Tauchman continues. They opened the postgame show with my bit.
If they start using "don't let the facts get in the way of a good story," they're stealing our stuff.
So
I'm not accusing anybody of stealing our stuff.
I'm not accusing. I'm just,
we did steal Palatine Pounder from Pat Hughes.
Yeah.
Everybody did, though. The summer of Mike Tauchman. It's another story.
The summer of Mike Tauchman is my greatest bit.
Talkinator has been unbelievable. Friend Phenom.
Jack R is asking me.
Yes.
He's literally adding me in the chat. Scroll up a little bit. Sarah, you just passed it. Are we sure Mancini was worse than Wisdom? I think that was potentially a conversation. I thought it looked like the Cubs were going to have to DFA somebody to make room on the roster. Yeah.
It had to come right. It had to come down to Wisdom and Mancini. Yeah. It had to. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was either guy.
I will give the Cubs credit for eating that money that they're paying Mancini, because it feels like something that they haven't done anything like that. Yeah, it's not just like it's not a couple million. This is $14 million that they are just eating because they're serious about winning this year. Like, credit to them. Just based off the numbers alone, Mancini was worse than Wisdom. Mancini had 4 home runs on the season, had a minus F4. He had like a weighted runs created well below average. At least Wisdom's hitting some homers every now and then.
Still leads the team in taters.
Yeah.
What was that, number 19 tonight?
Someone is asking me to take my shirt off. Come on.
We have Wisdom with his 19th home run tonight.
What?
I wouldn't have been surprised if it was either guy. But once they decided that Jeimer was going to be at first base over third base, mostly, that probably made the decision for you, in my opinion. And obviously he's provided way more power than Mancini. Mancini has 4 home runs.
I still don't know how they're going to get Wisdom in the lineup, if at all. Maybe
I don't either, but that's a pinch hitter that would scare some people. You bring him up to the plate, would need a home run to win the game.
He'd probably strike out, but,
who knows?
He has played better since coming back from the injured list. I'll give him that much.
So we're enjoying the Cubs win, 20-9 over the first place Reds, now within 4 games of first place Cincinnati. We're still talking some trade deadline topics, but again, if you want the whole trade deadline recap, we did that show from 5 to 6 tonight. That is also on YouTube, and it is also in podcast form, so please check that out. We didn't talk about Verlander to the Astros, Scherzer to the Rangers, and then the total sell-off from the Mets, and then Bob Nightingale saying, well, you know what this means? This means the Mets are out on Shohei. That is not happening because he's not going to a place that's going to want to rebuild next season. Do you believe that is true, or I only hesitated because I thought to myself, well, what would stop their owner from just going out and spending
more money?
$1.5 billion in the offseason.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, he go sign every free agent if he wanted to.
It's not like they completely shredded the team. Like Lindor is still there.
Well, they got rid of 2 old starters. Would they need pitching? Yes, but they could go out and buy more pitching.
Alonso's still there. Like, they still have dudes there. It's not like the 2021 second half Cubs.
Listen, if they offer Shohei $50 million more than anybody else, and he's kind of into New York, I don't know that he's going to care that. I think that unlike Bob, I believe the franchise has shown that they're so willing to spend that a turnaround. No, spending doesn't. Look at this year. Spending doesn't guarantee it, but he could provide faster fixes.
For sure.
He was just willing to trade, though. He went for it, signed all those guys, dumped them all. He'll do it again.
Signing 2 40-year-old, Cy Young caliber starters was either going to go good or bad, and it went the bad way because those guys just weren't good, and there was some. I think Verlander had some injury problems as well. You know, if they can get a little bit younger there in that starting rotation, you know, and add some pieces to go with the guys I said with Marte and Lindor and Alonso, I could see them. Especially with the owner that they have, I could see them competing next year. I don't know if it means.
Gary says Verlander was told we're not competing in 24, so that's why he waived his trade clause. Yeah. Well, I'm not saying it'd be 1 year, but if Shohei gets $50 million more and they're like, in 2 years we will be legit, might buy that. I'm not ruling out the Mets because their pockets are so deep.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it because I'm not gonna. I don't believe that Steve Cohen's gonna be like, nah, we're not gonna spend much this off season. We're gonna try and go younger and use some of our prospect depth or whatever. Nah, I don't see that. They'll be active. I think they'll be active. I don't know if they'll be as active as they were this past off season because they're eating a lot of money. Listen, they basically paid for prospects. They paid Scherzer and Verlander basically to go away.
Yeah, combined.
They basically paid them to go away on top of the trades, right?
Brangelina.
So we'll see. But the Mets and the Padres both are great examples of, winning the offseason doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the World Series or even win your division. So yeah, you guys spend money to be a consistent winner. Like the Dodgers are a great example of that. But at the same time, they spent a lot of dumb money too. They definitely spent a lot of dumb money.
Okay, real quick question before we get to ad reads and Ryan Herrera is ready at Wrigley Field. My question is what Jack is asking. Cubs deals, were they enough? Were they too much? Did they do enough?
No, they didn't do enough.
Did they do too much?
They definitely did not do too much. They didn't do enough. I mean, outside of Swanson, Bellinger, Merriweather.
No, I'm talking trade deadline deals.
Oh, trade deadline. I thought we were talking about the offseason.
No, the deals leading up to tonight. Did they do enough at the deadline to win and get into the postseason? Is it enough?
To get in the postseason, I think it's a I still think there's plenty of reason for optimism. Did they do enough to make sure of it? I don't think so. I still think they really should have got a lefty reliever. They got the relievers they did get are going to go to Iowa. They're not going to they might be on this team at some point before the end of the year, but I don't know.
But they kept Stroman, they kept Bellinger, and they added Jeimer and a bullpen arm.
Yeah,
I know they didn't get the lefty reliever. I believe that's a hole as well. However, it's pretty good. Pretty good. And I will say this. I don't know if they're getting to the postseason, but by making that Jeimer move, they've given themselves a really good chance to at least give these younger players and guys like Nico an opportunity to play in meaningful end-of-season games, which may not be the same as postseason games, but if the Cubs are close within a game or two, every game's going to feel like a playoff game at the end. So they could simulate the same type of reaction.
Experience. In general, this is what I think. They got the bat that they needed, right? They got they got the position player that they absolutely needed. They got two relievers that they think have high upside. Okay, great. But are they good? Can you put them right in the rotation right now? Or not the rotation, the bullpen? No. So because of that, that's telling me that they're going to get aggressive with some of these guys they have in Iowa. So unless we start seeing some of those guys get the call and get an opportunity, which I don't expect them to get high leverage opportunities right away, and I hope they don't get high leverage opportunities right away. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, how are you going to get these guys that you're going to call up from Iowa comfortable while also still trying to win games? And so that's what bothers me about the fact that they didn't go get a reliever in general and also a left-handed reliever. Do I think the bullpen is good? Yeah, it's good, but at the same time, like, you can never not have enough. So I just think that they should have got at least one reliever, whether it was a high leverage one or just one for depth. I just think that they really needed to get one. So that's where I stand on that.
We are up to 200 likes. Barb is a wild card, and Novadamus agrees with me, which is great. Cody, tell us about.
Barb said I'm a raging bull.
Yes.
What?
Barb, what do you think of these shades? That's 4 games out.
Here. All right, Barb. Do I look like a raging bull when I put my Shady Rays on? You tell me while I read this ad. Take on the sun
20 runs.
With gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. Together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. through Shady Rays Impact. From building playsets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime, Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now and for years to come. If you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk. When you shop, their team always has your back. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving you their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 50% off 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. That includes me because I rated them.
Barb, also, Cody uses a trick that I've often used in fishing. If you want your fish to look bigger, you just get closer to the screen. So if Cody's trying to show off the biceps, he's just moving into the lens.
Do I work out? Yes. But
Clip
am I
that.
a raging
Clip that,
bull,
please.
though?
Clip that. That was very Ryan-esque right there. Do I work out, please? Guys, let me tell you something. Number one, don't miss the takeover that we're going to have at Wrigley Field against the White Sox. Make sure you get your tickets for that. But also, CHGO diehards, check out that kickoff classic we've got at Cog Hill coming up on the 25th of the month. 9 a.m. tee time. 18 holes with a cart. Exclusive pins and aces tee gift for all the players. We're going to have whole contests, giveaways, prizes, lunch, drinks, a ceremony after the round. And, of course, you get the diehard discount. I'll be there wearing my pins and aces gear at Cog Hill. I'll be shooting over 100, but I will be vibing with my Shady Rays, my pins and aces, and I'll probably have a little AG1 before I head out to the golf course.
Yeah.
I will be ready to go. And if Corey shows up, there's probably going to be some Sunnyside.
Oh, baby.
Probably going to be some Sunnyside there as well. Don't forget premium written content for all the diehards from the members at allchgo.com. We got our great shirts. Look at us, both wearing CHGO gear. Sick drip.
I know I'm wearing black, and everyone also thinks I'm wearing like White Sox colors, but it's just a regular CHGO.
Kids say it is sick drip.
Sick drip.
Dope merch.
Dope merch.
And Ryan Herrera brings you everything you need to read about your Chicago Cubs as they make a run for the postseason. Speaking of Ryan Herrera, there he is at beautiful historic Wrigley Field. No Hawaiian shirt tonight.
Before we ask him a question, Fernando is asking, where is the takeover? He's been asking for the last 2 weeks. And my understanding is we still don't know where the pregame meetup is going to be.
No, we don't know where the meetup's going to be. But, get the tickets, go to the game with us.
Yeah. But we will let you know. We will definitely let you know.
It's going to be in Wrigleyville.
We'll be in Wrigley. I promise you it's going to be in Wrigley. The guy who asked me, or the guy who's like setting this up for us, he straight up asked me in Slack, what bar should we take?
Oh, boy, and see, that's trouble. And it's going to have a little goose.
I told him Murphy's Bleachers. I told him Murphy's Bleachers #1 priority.
But it's going to have a Goose Island tie. You got to see what's available each day. There's so many great bars in Wrigleyville that we've done a show about it.
Collada says he's practicing his golf game. Who wants to golf with a lefty? Would you golf with Collada?
Oh, yeah.
With the Godfather?
Think of all the advice you get, the wisdom that man.
Oh, the wisdom from Collada.
That although every time you would go to swing the club, somebody would be on, Ricketts is cheap in your ear. So the heckling be tough. Ryan, question number 1. Was Wrigley as loud as it sounded watching on marquee tonight? It seems like the excitement level has raised for these 2 games against the Reds.
Yeah, well, first I need to address that Barb called me a little guy and that Cody benches more than me. That Cody benches more than me, which I take offense to. I think we should have a bench off and just to prove.
See, the Bears guys are taking their shirts off. I think there's a possibility the 2 young bucks might do it on this podcast.
I personally think Ryan would outbench me anyway because he's working on trying to build muscle, and I've been trying to not build muscle all summer. So that's my excuse.
Anyway, yes, Wrigley was loud today. I mean, it was 33, I think, 1,000 was the attendance, something like that. So not a sellout or anything, but very loud. The Cubs obviously gave them reasons to be loud. 20 runs does that. 7 home runs does that. So yeah, Wrigley was about as loud as I don't know what it sounded like on marquee, but I'm sure it did catch a little bit of what it really felt like to be. Right, it was loud. It was loud. Press box is shaking every once in a while. Cody Bellinger hits a ball off the video board in right field and breaks it for like a half hour. Just a lot of noise being made from the fans at Wrigley Field today. They gave him something to cheer about today.
Man, 7 home runs. What a turnaround after a difficult loss in Game 1 of the series. We said, boy, they can't be swept. You got to at least get a split, so they still have a chance to do that. You could still get 3 out of 4, which would be spectacular. Ryan, we talked about this trade deadline going up to it. I know you got a lot of sound before the game and sound here, interviews and stuff after the game. But there was so much talk going up to this trade deadline, whether it was going to be buyers, sellers, somewhere in between. Cubs win that stretch of 10 of 12. That obviously impacted Jed Hoyer's decision to become buyers, not sellers. But when did he actually make up his mind that he was going to at least go for the postseason this year instead of trading Bellinger, which would have brought him a pretty hefty return?
I think it was like somewhere in the last. I think like Sunday is maybe a point. I think it might have been in the few days before that where it was like trending in that direction. I think Bellinger was kind of off the market prior to that. I want to say, or what was being reported. I definitely think that 8-game winning streak, 10 and 11 or whatever it was, really sealed it. For the front office, for Jed, and showed him because I think it goes. I don't think it was just this one stretch of games. I think it goes back to beginning of June or early June. They're on the West Coast and they get swept by the Angels, and since then they're 28-17, something like that, the 3rd best record in the major leagues in that stretch. So it really started back then, where it's like, okay, this team is trending up. They're actually playing to the level that they're probably capable of, because May was definitely below where they were capable of playing. So I think it started there, and they just kept trending up, and had their struggles every now and then. But overall, we're playing well, and it just got to the point where Jed obviously wanted to give it to the end. Like he wanted to get as many points of data as he could get, all the information before making a complete decision and picking a direction. So he was already he wanted to buy. Like he did not want to sell again. He came into the season that way. He said it all season, and I do think that was that wasn't just smoke. Like I do think that's the direction he wanted to go in all season. And he just needed to see them, right? Like he needed to see them kind of complete that journey, get back to 500, show them that he can, show him that they can shave some games off the division lead and the wild card, get back to 500 or even over 500, complete that journey, confirm that this is the right move to make, and he'll do it. I think that's what we saw. I don't think it was had they lost on Saturday, I don't know that they sell. I think it's a little more nuanced than that. It's not like a one game type thing. But I do think it was that stretch of games where they were beating up on the White Sox, beating up on the Cardinals, took 2 or 3 from the Nats. I think that just kind of cemented in the front office's mind that this was a team that was worth giving a shot the last 2 months of the season.
Yeah, they beat up on bad teams like you're supposed to. Those 3 teams are 52 games under 500 or were at the point that the Cubs decided. For me, it was the Tauchman catch. I tweeted right away, I believe they got a shot. So for me, that was it. Now, you mentioned Cody Bellinger. Sarah, do we have that sound that Ryan got of David Ross talking about the decision about whether or not he was going to move Bellinger? Because that, of all the pieces that he had, Bellinger, with the way he played in July, which was the best month of his entire career, and you're talking about a guy who's an MVP, that was one of the best months in Chicago Cubs history for a player. This is Ryan's sound he got from Jed Hoyer talking about Cody Bellinger and what he's meant.
Conversations. No, he's been, like I say, he's been everything we expected, but he's been even better than we expected. He's played like he did in kind of 18, 19, and 20 for the Dodgers. He's been fantastic, and he's also just you've seen how he interacts with our players, how he is in the clubhouse, how he is out on the team. He's a huge part of kind of why we have so much confidence in this team. I feel like he's a huge part of it. He's just fit in perfectly, and that was a really easy decision to keep him here, and it's been a lot of fun to watch him. And I'm really honestly proud of him, the way we signed him, and the next day he was at the complex working, and he did not take a day off other than I think the one time I knew he was gone from the complex, he was going to Louisville Slugger to do a bat fitting. He was totally focused on this year, and all that hard work paid off, and all the hard work that he and Dustin Kelly did from the first day when he got to when we signed him, it has been pretty amazing. So he deserves a ton of credit for having this kind of resurgence.
So he's been. We talked about at the beginning of the podcast, Ryan. He's been everything that they could have hoped for when they signed him in the offseason. They decide to keep him. Everybody says, "Hey, man, he'd be a great fit in the offseason if you can pull that off, bringing him back." Nights like tonight, if money's even, might be the Swain thing. He sure looks like a guy who's having a lot of fun in a Cubs uniform. And what did everybody just say about the offense tonight? 21 hits, 20 runs. That's a pretty nice response to last night's game.
Yeah, and I think we talked to Swanson, we talked to Bellinger, talked to Hat post game. This is kind of one of those games where I don't think that they ever really felt the pressure of the trade deadline, right? They didn't let that distract them all that much, but it is nice to just kind of get past it and know who you're playing with the rest of the season is kind of the message. It's these are the guys you got, go out and try to make a postseason run. You mentioned yesterday's game obviously did not go the way they wanted to start this homestand. They come out today and just respond and take advantage of a guy who's a starter who's struggling on the mound, right? He gave up 13 earned runs today. 13 hits, 13 earned runs. It was the Reds had or made him wear that game, and the Cubs took advantage. And it was they put 5 runs up in the first inning, and I think it Hap post game that it was like, and they didn't let off the gas there. They kept adding on every single inning going forward. That's what the Cubs have to do, right? Like they've gone the last couple of weeks and beat up on some really bad teams at the bottom of their division pretty much. But now they're going to be matched up, especially this week. The Reds are first place in the division. The Braves are, I think, the best team in baseball right now. That's the week that they have coming up. Their front office showed that they were confident enough in them to go out and make additions, and they're going to have to respond by they don't have to have games like tonight, right? Like obviously the Cubs will take 20-run games, but they're not going to get that every night. But they have to have those games where Steele's solid on the mound, and the offense is just giving him runs early, giving him early leads, and just with any pitcher on the mound, right? Like the offense has to show up because there's been a lot of points in this season where they haven't. And you saw today some of that potential of what's in there. Dansby Swanson, 2 home runs, Bellinger with 1, Nico hit 1. Like everyone contributed pretty much, and that's what they're going to need going forward. And especially this week, this homestand is going to be a big test for them.
Another big game tomorrow. Big game tonight was at Wrigley Field, and then the other big game was who you got. Ryan, if you missed it, Cody went, 12 seconds on the beer bat. He did bring back the beer bat. Actually, he had 10, and he just got a lot of foam. There was a lot of foam at the end. It really threw him off. Now, when you have 20 runs and 21 hits, you're going to have some competition for who you got. Amazingly, I think we all would have agreed that Dansby Swanson probably would have won or been the front runner for who you got. And with 5 of us picking players, nobody picked Dansby Swanson.
This graphic is cracking me up.
So Corey picked Barnhart.
Because he was late.
Because he was late.
He's
Wait,
like,
when did Luke pick Candelario? I don't remember that happening.
On the post-game show last night, I said if he doesn't play, he doesn't play, but I'm taking him. Mancini for Brendan because he was standing in lockstep with the front office is what he said. So he was taking Mancini.
Half because,
by the way, a nice guy, and I hope things work. Good luck to Trey Mancini. I hope he gets another shot with somebody. He's had a good major league career, but it was probably the right move. Now we're down to Candelario, first game, Bellinger, and Hap. All right, Hap is out. Is out. 1 for 3.
Luke won.
The other 2 guys.
No way.
I mean, I'm going to say I won.
Yeah.
No.
I thought Ryan was going to look at this and say, well, Ryan's guy had 3 hits
and a homer.
And a home run with 3 RBIs. That's a great game. There's no question about it. Gary Ross says, I win with the Candyman. My guy had 4 hits in his first game with the team this season.
He almost.
How many were soft contact?
But
like 3 of them?
Here's the deal.
Nah.
Well, he almost hit a home run the one time.
That's
the vibes were the Candyman.
Yeah.
I do give Ryan some point for hitting the scoreboard. You hit the scoreboard, that's something.
What is the chat?
But Barb says Stucky. Doug says Candy.
Gary says
Gary says I win. Barb says Barnhart. How many edibles did he take? Frank says Candelario. So it does look like the chat wants to go my way, which Doug says Candy. Gary says I win.
It's like
Goldie says Belly hit the ball way harder. So there's one for Ryan.
It's like those years when LeBron didn't win MVP because of voter fatigue. Like this is kind of what's happening right now.
Well, it looks like the people just.
A lot of people say that about the same year that Derrick Rose won MVP, and they said LeBron should have. And you know what? That's some bullshit. And I know you agree with that.
Now, Ryan, can you do this? Candyman.
I can't do it. My sunglasses.
You can't. There you go. Can't do it. So there, I'll take the win.
Well, I didn't.
Okay, I can do this too.
Anyway.
No, you could say beer bat, and maybe that happens. Barb says I win the bench press contest only if we're bench pressing cupcakes. Barb, only if we're bench pressing cupcakes.
The vibes has never been
those days
higher.
John says I win.
Barnhart got a hit. Craig says, "Hey."
All right, looks like you're outvoted, Ryan. But I do think you had at least a. This would have been one of those nights I got Stuckey vibes from Edward. This would have been one of those nights last year where we would have split the vote.
Probably.
Yeah, probably would have split the vote.
This is one of those nights where if Stuckey didn't win, if the chat wasn't voting for Stuckey, he would say, screw the chat, which he's done.
I would never say screw the chat. Those are our people. We got 229 likes, and we had 450 people watching on a consistent basis.
We did have over 400 people in here watching. So
And wow, the nice things they said in the super chats.
229 likes. They're very nice
The
people.
chat is family.
They are family.
Okay, Ryan's going to be back at the ballpark tomorrow.
Do we have any more super chats? Did we miss any?
Did we miss any super chats? Did we miss one?
Hawkeye.
Oh, yes, Hawkeye. Go ahead, Cody.
The ass beating that was brought down tonight. Bats were hitting. Dansby had a night to never forget. Let's close this one out with some more W's. Absolutely.
That is the key.
Got to take at least one more at the very least, but ideally they win the next two.
Is Smiley tomorrow? Is that correct, Ryan?
As of now, yes.
Okay,
All
that'll
right.
be interesting. Yeah, because Wesneski threw tonight.
Yeah.
That's
And
what we
Assad
had.
pitched on Monday.
Yeah, the ass man already shoved this week. So,
All right, this is going to be interesting. I need Drew Smiley to continue what he did last start. So, ideally they'll win the next two, but you at least have to split. So, got to win at least one of the next two.
hey,
Back to 4 games back. Let's ride.
and before we go, don't want to forget to tell you about FOCO.
Foco.
Make sure you get fitted out in the best sports gear around: hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. It's baseball season. Ryan gets his Aloha shirts, their straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need for a game. Our set decorations brought to you by our friends at FOCO. Check out FOCO.com. Click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. And again, don't forget the CHGO Kickoff Classic at Cog Hill coming up August 25th, 9 a.m. tee time. 18 holes with a cart. You get an exclusive Pins and Aces tee gift for all players. There's going to be hole contests, giveaways, prizes, lunch, drinks, ceremony after the round, and you get the Die Hard discount on top of it all. And we will be vibing with our Shady Rays on, our Pins and Aces gear, our AG1,
and I'll be getting
in our
some
water
sun
bottles
on these legs. So
and
you
Cody
guys
will
stop
be
talking
tanning his luscious
about it. 'Cause I
legs
sure as hell ain't going to be wearing
on the
pants.
course
That's
at
for
Cog
damn
Hill.
sure.
20 runs from the Cubs. They're 4 games out of first place, and they take on the first place Reds again tomorrow night. We'll see you back here on the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate everybody in the chat. Thanks for checking
Hit
out.
that like button on your way
Hit the
out.
like button on the way out, and until tomorrow's Cubs win, fly the W.